Yeah, see, I care so much about your whiskey selection that's the only reason that I'm even thinking about going live right now. You know what I mean? So probably ain't gonna be too many people on here with a lot of truck drivers or solar powered truck drivers, especially in the winter. But the weather should be good everywhere, so never know.
Mm. What you think about going electric?
What's that?
What you thinking about going electric?
What does electric have to do with anything?
Oh, electric trucks.
That ain't got nothing to do with anything.
Well, you got like using solar powered trucks.
Solar power means they only drive during the daytime.
Ah, okay.
What's up, everybody? David, Rich, Trucker, Trader Sam, Johnson's Logistic. Listen, I just came on here right quick. I had to get a driver and a truck out in Springfield. Then I had another driver bring their truck to Springfield that needed some work on it, but they didn't really want to. Well, at the time, didn't seem like they wanted to chill out too much. So I switched trucks with them. And hold on a second. So I switched trucks with them, and then I took a rental home. So that's where I'm at right now. And then my son hooked a brother up with some whiskey. So, hey, Mason, go grab that bottle of whiskey and bring it in here.
Okay.
And then bring me a glass. Yeah, so it's like one of the good things I look forward to when I get to take some home time. Oh, shoot. So, Wyoming. Hey, we got a pretty good stretch of weather. It seems to happen as soon as I brought my ass home. All right, so this was the bottle that he got. MB Roland, uncut and unfiltered, still in barrel proof. So we're like 109 proof on this right there. So boom, just gonna give that a little try. Now, why did you pick this shit?
Came highly recommended.
Well, who recommended it?
Well, one of the whiskey guys, the liquor store I go to, they have guys for just about everything there.
All right, we'll see. Yeah, because I walked into the house and I saw some weak ass 80 proof, and I was like, you might want to try a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to apply yourself.
See, what he doesn't specify, I get him Canadian whiskey.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, I always, for the most part, say bourbon, so
Well, I know.
that should cut down a lot of it right there.
Oh, I know. If you don't specify.
All right, so let's see. Getting a lot of them cinnamon tones up in here. Definitely smell that alcohol coming through. Definitely got a little bit of a sweetness to it. And it definitely has a kick. Grab me some ice.
Okay.
Oh, here. So anyway, very distinctive taste. It's one of them whiskeys where if I ever drank something like this again, like I could pick this out of a blind taste test. So anyway, that's what's going on. Hopefully I hear we're about to get some weather coming through here, so I had somebody was asking me what it's been like out here lately, and I can only speak. If it was just one truck, it wouldn't be. It's just so easy to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm kicking myself in the ass, but it's like playing slots. So if each truck is like one of the little things when you pull the handle, you rarely ever get all of them in a row. You got like maybe one here and then one up here, and if you can get my point. So that is about it. Did you taste some?
A little bit, yeah.
What do you think?
It's good. Like you said, got a good kick to it.
So anyway, that's really got to get my Twit card handle when I'm out here. I do not know why this has made such a big ass deal, but I got to get that handled. And that's about it. Hopefully that truck gets done soon. So I'm assuming that some people are driving, which is why there ain't no comments rolling in. So let's see. Hold on. All right. Rusty, I spent a little bit of time with your boy Marty up at the Springfield terminal, and he said you were a lot more relaxed in high school. He said you're stressing out a little bit more about the small stuff these days. I'm just joking. I just told him I was gonna give you shit. But yeah, I did have a chance to get to know Marty a little bit up there. Got his new truck, and you know the fixed costs vary per truck. They're all a little bit different. Yeah, I don't sit there and break them all down just because the fixed costs aren't really the issue. The variable costs are what gets you, and not only the variable costs, it's trying to keep it's hard to say. The fixed costs will kind of vary a little bit. I think right now I'm paying like extra for some permits or something like that. So it's not the fixed cost. It's just trying to get everything clicking. That's really all it ever is. It's either real good or it's real bad. All right. Up in Michigan. Hey, I drove back from Springfield a couple days ago. There were potholes so big outside of Kansas City that they were literally like 3.5 inches deep by about 9 inches like long. And while we're going through this, there's a truck behind me. I got a truck in front of me, a truck behind me, and I got I'm leaving about 3 or 4 feet of space between me and the truck that's in front of me. And guess what? The semi truck behind me has got to like ride on my ass like I got somewhere to go. I almost thought about it. I was like, man, I could probably make a little bit of money right here. But I didn't choose to do that. I was getting that pissed off. I was about to, because we were at a speed where I could maybe fake it enough to get paid out and not get hurt. Oh, Tammy Misfit Flatbed Her is in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I think the weather's good out there right now, isn't it? I know a little snow is going to be coming through at the end of the week. What floods are you talking about, Slowpoke? I didn't hear anything about any floods. Very unique. I cannot put my finger on what this is that hits you as the afterthought. It's almost like a fire stick. Hey, Slowpoke, I'm still trying to figure out what you're talking about as far as floods. As a matter of fact, Ghazi, I don't be worrying about shit until it's something to worry about. So I really don't have any thoughts on it until it actually affects me. And I don't ever worry about anything too much that I can't have any control over. So whatever happens as far as that happens.
So it should be enough to take chill off, but not enough to make me hot.
Georgia Trucker, have I ever thought about putting different trucks in different divisions? Not all just reefer. I would, but if anything, I'm trying to at some point, if the market was better, I'm trying to reduce trucks. So I'm not trying to add shit. So when this other truck the market's just shitty right now. Otherwise, the truck that I'm driving would have been gone. I'm not trying to collect these things. Oh, okay, San Diego. Yeah, I heard it was snowing or it was raining pretty good out there. Yeah. When I lived in San Diego, I never really had to worry about the rain. I was either living in Tierra Santa, which is up on a hill or on top of a canyon, or I was in North Park, which would never really be subjected to flooding. Bring in that other whiskey too. I might as well do a review on that. Or not a review, but at least taste it. What's up? Yeah, could you take the dogs out for you? Okay, love you. Yeah, this is what he tried to have me walking into. I know nobody suggested this. It was in no whiskey or bourbon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did somebody suggest this?
Nah.
You just bought this because of the price or something?
It seemed like a good steal. Last time I did that.
I mean, it's all right.
Much to his chagrin, last time I did that, I got him one he really liked until I told him it was Terry Bradshaw's.
Well, okay, here's the thing, Mason. You could do whatever you want. Sometimes you can just buy a bottle just because of the bottle. But when I'm looking at this, I just don't see any redeeming qualities whatsoever. And then the 80 proof right there. That right there is like, that just says.
I don't know where Penny is. She must be under the bed. I'm trying.
Okay. Anyway.
Come on.
Yeah, I can't really.
See, look at that. I didn't want to invite you out for Labor Day.
That bottle's all right for like mixing with like Coke or something like that.
Don't tempt me now.
San Diego, old stomping grounds. Boy, I used to love some San Diego. When I was out in San Diego, I don't remember what years you were out in San Diego, but when I was out in San Diego was the shit. But we were out there getting our club on all the time. It was. As a matter of fact, tell your mom Penny's up here, or pick her up and take her down. Are you going with them?
Nah.
All right, but yeah, San Diego used to be the shit. I miss San Diego. I need to come to Labor Day cookout. What I need to do is try to get all these trucks running at the same goddamn time and not be just finding ways to have 2 out of 4 running, 3 out of 4, 1 out of 4. I need 4 out of 4 at least. Can I get 1 week? Can a brother get 1 week? So I can't be taking no time off. As a matter of fact, this time off right here, I wasn't even going to take this time, but one of the trucks was going to be down. He wanted to keep running, so we'll see. But I was laying pretty low when I was out in Springfield. I got kind of sick out there. I'd gone out to eat. I think I was sick a little bit before this. Before I went out to eat with Twisted D. But the day after, that night and the day after, man, I was just like, it was coming out of both ends, as they say. Misfit Flatbedder, I see that you put up a video. I haven't had a chance to check that one out lately. I see that you got a flat tire or something happened like that. I could use a dirty martini, but the problem is when I get home, if I was like at home all the time, I would probably be drinking that more than stuff like this. But what I've been gone so long, you got to get into some quality mash. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think I'm good to go on my taxes. I might have to catch up on last month's expenses. That's about it. Or this month's expenses. Oh, and I'm driving home the other day from Springfield. And we're probably about 12:30 at night. I'm coming through Kansas, and a highway patrol officer literally just pulls up behind me and starts chilling for a while. I know I got on the South Carolina license plates and all that stuff, but I don't know if they thought I was transporting some of that yayo or what, but they were definitely making me a little nervous back there. I was probably doing the speed limit or a little too close to the speed limit. I think the speed limit was 75 at that point. I might have been doing 76. I should have probably been doing 78 or something, just not to look so suspicious.
Glad you like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Just always mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little baby over here, but Mom doesn't want the little motherfucker on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Here, just give him a little. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't do no homemade alcohol, none of that shit. The last time I had homemade alcohol, I was in.
Yeah.
No, I didn't really fuck with that much.
You had some.
Okay, I might have tasted it, but it wasn't.
Yeah. You tasted it already.
Well, last time I could really remember it, I was in Saudi Arabia.
Remembering being the key word here.
Okay.
That baby is not cute. You couldn't even see that damn baby.
He's handsome. He's a handsome boy.
They all look the same out here trying to see. This is the funny thing. Everybody, I mean, you might be able to tell if a baby's like black or Mexican or, Chinese, but outside of that, like that's just that baby could be anything, huh?
Except white.
Well, he wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
but he could be like. Could you be like Middle Eastern?
He's got the nose.
Yeah, he could be anything. All you gotta do is break him into categories. You can't really like if you dropped him off somewhere and then came back and there's like 10 babies there, you'd have to actually think about getting him.
You are so stupid.
That does raise a question. There's like 10 of them in a row, all mixed up.
And I wouldn't.
What's up, Eric?
recognize my grandson. I don't think that's.
I've been seeing you posting them videos. I try to watch as many of those as I can, but I cannot watch no jazz videos. Anything that has to do with jazz, I just can't do. Jazz is basically organized racket. I can't do it.
You don't have any socks on at all. What happened to both of your socks? I just knew you had one. So these are kind of like you could just pick off.
Yeah, somebody might have been trying to escort me from behind.
Well, I don't know who did to take a coat, a sweater, so I'm taking it.
It's gonna be almost 60.
And we're
Low
getting we're
60s.
almost like a mile and a half above sea level. So the sun is
Right. Oh, we need
You're
more.
not gonna want. You're probably gonna be perfectly fine with that. If you wanna keep that in the car, that's up to you, but you do not.
I'll take
yeah.
that.
I'm gonna
This
do where
is
it lives,
Colorado, not Missouri.
and then I'm bringing.
What kind of food is here?
Sun is hot.
What?
What kind of food is here?
Look in the freezer and stuff. Chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's chicken. There's dino chicken nuggets too.
No,
We got
Oh,
pork,
there's
we
not?
got
Never
pork
mind.
chops, and we got one last New York steak.
There's all kinds of soup. Right now, we need to go.
All right, that's right.
When we gonna go have margaritas?
I'm not worried about no margaritas.
I am.
You guys, every time I turn around, you motherfuckers are drinking margaritas.
But yeah, no pork chops and steak. That are like the two non-frozen meats we got.
So anyway, I know this is a little bit boring. I'm a little bit under the weather. I did just want to give my son his props for at least go bring that bottle. See, the one lip service bottle. But I had to give him his props. I told him he didn't need to go out and do that, but it's our ritual now.
We had some good playtime.
Not that.
Good
It's the bottle says lip service on it.
playtime.
So I've been out 2 months, which is a little bit longer than I wanted to be out, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Like I said, I've been getting hit upside the head with any way you can to spend money. I've been spending money. What's up, Leah? If you guys ever see this out there, that's what you got to get. That bottle right there. This is more of a whiskey than a bourbon. Let that burn in. Lip service. Thank you. Uh, yeah. Here's what Ghazi said. Mr. Lyle, you got to give your grandchild at least 6 months or a year before you could see resemblance features. See,
He's
they
7
all
months.
look the same.
He's 7 months.
I think they mean from now.
He looks just like me. That's how I feel.
He looks just like you.
Mm-hmm.
Chilling in Nashville. Let me see where my people are at right now. I did have one of my drivers got a big claim, and I was happy that they were staying down south. Let's see. It looked like my boy Jan is going to West Memphis, Arkansas. Hey, Jan, if you happen to be watching this, actually, that's not a bad load either. But keep your guards up out there, West Memphis, Arkansas. Got a truck headed from Brundage, Alabama to Edwardsville, Illinois. That is not a great load, but it's keeping her moving. And then my new guy, he's going out there to Ross Johnson's neck of the woods. He's headed out to Atlanta. Yeah, West Memphis, Arkansas. Not keep your guards up out there. Not necessarily my favorite place to go, but a Miracle too on West Memphis or on South Airport Road. If you read the notes on some of those receivers out there in that area, there's that Kroger, I think it is. They even tell you do not take the lock off your trailer till you're like inside the facility because there's people out there stealing your shit right outside of the right outside of the DC. You know, I kind of like driving through Nashville now that I'm used to it, but those first couple times when you drive through and you don't know exactly what lane you got to be in, sort of like Atlanta almost. Andrew Craig, what's up in Omaha? Richards River Smoker talking shit about West Memphis, Arkansas now. I've been to a few places out there in West Virginia that if the only thing that keeps them from being the capital of anything crazy is just sheer lack of numbers. Like, I forgot where I was at, but I was in the middle of nowhere out there. And there was like some straight up like hillbilly looking dudes. But I knew I could at least talk to them. I got that vibe, like, you know, they weren't going to be doing nothing crazy. So I was like, dang, I can't. I said, you guys got me out here in the middle of nowhere. He was like, well, it's not too bad out here, but if you get down there in them hollers or up there in them hollers, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take your word for it. How much question?
We're going to Boulder Tea House.
Why don't you have Big Spitzer get out here?
I was just seeing since you were live on a video, perfect time to ask.
Can't get rid of this cough. What's up, 1 billionth content creator?
Mama did raise me.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Thank you, my love.
How much you need? Because I need some of this for the
But
drive back.
it's not. It's, what do you want to give me? $5, $10, $20, $50, whatever you got. Ones, not ones. I don't know, ladies. Do we need singles?
Well, some of them,
I'm just teasing.
some of them ladies need
Oh,
to be.
somebody made it rain on Greg yesterday at work.
Oh, really?
He does got that little sensitive look to him.
Mm.
Another lady asked if he would clean her butthole. It was a pickup line. There's a story. I'll tell you.
Do tell. Now I'm sure everybody else heard that, and they're like, "Yeah."
All right,
do
Eric.
tell.
See you later. Eric's out there in Chicago, living in the grind, putting in that work out there. You can come here.
I want to.
Are you letting me? All right, you are taking him though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
No,
you're babysitting.
no, we're leaving him.
You didn't know that?
No, you're babysitting. I said the girls are going.
Yeah, there's one in the freezer.
Well,
You're in charge.
yeah, okay.
Of course, we're taking them.
Slime Pack 392. She's out there killing it.
Okay. Where's my keys? Of course we're leaving him. The boys
Now,
are-
Slime Pack right there. Okay. Now I'm always one of the people that says don't go out and waste a bunch of money on cars and all that kind of shit like that. But if you have a channel or something like that that's basically covering the cost and making money, more money than the car's costing you, that right there's the move. She's definitely killing it. Now I was just trying not to get robbed with the car. Because you know how my people be. All right.
Bye, baby. Love you.
All right, love you too. Yeah, so really ain't got much to say, man. Just out here, just trying to survive. Thinking about how lucky I am to have such a wonderful family to come home to. Just watched Training Day again. Brought that old school back. Yeah, I saw that you were home. I didn't actually watch that last video that you posted because I've been dealing with my own stuff, but I was like, something about it seemed a little clickbaitish. I know that you aren't afraid to throw a little bit of that in there. Let's see. How do I idle the Pete? I asked under one of your YouTube videos. It's been a long time since I've like really replied to YouTube videos just because I've been sick, and when I wasn't sick, I was dealing with some shit. I think I answered your question though on that. There's your Peterbilt or any truck should idle anyway within certain parameters. Like normally it'll idle, and I definitely remember talking about this because one of my Peterbilts will idle between 80 degrees to 30 degrees, or it'll idle anything above 30 to 80. I have another one that'll idle, it needs to be 40 degrees to 80 degrees. Then I have one that I think is about but it should idle within parameters. Now, if you want to know how to up your idle speed, then that's a different story. But every time I think about flatbed, not that I think about it, but somebody had brought up flatbed, and I saw one of them flatbedders out there when I was dealing with all that cold ass weather, and I saw them out there messing around with that load, and I was like, nope. Seriously about this though. One thing I'm gonna start doing when it's cold outside and you're doing any inspections or whatever like that in the morning, or when your truck is sat a while and it's super cold outside, check them tanks. Either you could check it before you get done driving or after, but I've been hearing, and I don't know why I've heard about it more this year. Maybe it's because it happened to me. It wasn't a fuel gelling thing per se, but it started drawing a lot of fuel out of one tank. So if you looked in there, one tank looked like it was a quarter full, the other one was like 3/4 full. And I didn't think anything about it at the time, and ended up running the fuel out of the one because it was only drawn out of that one and nothing was coming over. So keep an eye out on that. Can't wait to cut this down.
Okay, now we're leaving.
All right.
Unless Mom realizes she forgot something.
Yeah, cut this hair down, boy. This is getting ridiculous. This is how long it's been since I've been home last. Does flatbed pay more? In my opinion, I don't really have an opinion on that, but I do. Ghazi's in here. He's done flatbed. I don't know. I think Misfit Flatbed, her, is no longer in here, but she's done flatbed. And in our conversations, if anything, it seems like she's more apt to come back over to the reefer side. I doubt she does it, but I don't get the impression that flatbed is doing better, but I could be wrong. And shit, even if they are doing better, that's a headache. Yeah, flatbed might. The few people I talk to in flatbed, it seems like their loads may be a little more inconsistent as far as the bottom and the high that they pay. There's like a big distance between those two. So I think that their best loads may be better than our best loads, but their worst loads are probably going to be worse than our worst loads. What we're sipping on here is a little something that my son got me as a welcome home, MB Roland. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. It is a still and barrel proof, 109 proof whiskey. And this is basically a boutique distillery. Everything's done in one place. So he actually went out and asked some questions about this. I got home and what I was staring at was a 80 proof Colorado bourbon. And I was like, you need to go hit the streets again and come up with something a little bit better than that. "109 proof is not that high in a whiskey or a bourbon. I mean, that's probably 100 would probably be about the minimum that I would like try to go at and when I'm coming off the road after being gone for a long time. I mean that I at least want that kind of a strength to it. How is my son's apprenticeship going with the electrician job? Mason. That's a good fucking question. Mason, people are on here asking how's things going with your electrician apprenticeship, seeing as how you're going to be collecting Social Security in about 2 more years.
Things going pretty well, honestly. Like my 4th year is going to finish up in June.
Wait, you need to come around here and talk a little louder.
Well, I'm saying it's going pretty good here. This school year is going to finish up in June, and after that, it's just a couple of months afterwards. And after I pass my 4th year, I can qualify to start taking my state license test and all that fun stuff. So I might not get my journeyman's license, but I can get my actual licensed electrician, state license, not necessarily union license.
So whatever that means, all I know is this motherfucker over here could have already been a doctor by now, but he's being an electrician. How long has this taken so far? 5 years?
Yeah, it's a 5-year program.
Okay.
Those poor guys who did the advanced program won't be able to turn out for another 2 years because they got their school time. They just don't have their actual on-the-clock time. So those guys got screwed over.
What's up, Lenny? I was joking about this whole electrician thing. I mean, definitely, once this is all over with, it seems like, especially for him, because it wasn't like he was going to be no, stellar college student. So coming out 5 years later with no debt, with a skill that can make you that much money is probably a good...
Appreciate the vote of confidence there, Lyle.
I'm not saying you're a stupid motherfucker, but you weren't getting no good grades or nothing.
I ain't trying to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school.
Well, I'm just saying, even when school was free.
Yeah.
I didn't have to show up at your school for no reason.
I was literally in middle school.
That's because I nipped shit in the bud. All right. Tell your student congratulations and good luck with TNT. I'm a little bit too afraid to do TNT training. What's my opinion on Jack Scalfani and the Cooking with Jack show? I don't know anything about the Cooking with Jack show. I can vaguely remember something like that from back in my cooking channel days, but I really don't keep up with it that much. Yeah, I'm too afraid to be out there doing some TNT training right now. I'd mildly thought about it. I had somebody that wanted to what's up, Dick? Had somebody mildly thinking about, or not thinking, wanted me to train him and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, man, I could entertain it in summer, but this last one, this winter right here, with what I went through, there is no way I could just sit in the back and let a trainee go through what I was dealing with and still be able to get some sleep. This just wouldn't happen. I'm still tired there, Captain Trucker. What's my opinion on people's heads that are too big? Actually big-headed people. Well, that's my son over there. Somebody actually typed that question in. I don't know if you had your head on the video or not.
Now I'm just feeling attacked.
Huh?
Now I'm just feeling attacked. Little big heads. Must have seen all them older No Hippie Barbecue videos. What? Hetty Prince Jr., Hetty Murphy, like Hetty Mandel, like all them I'm just lucky I'm 6'5", so I can actually, my body is roughly to scale with my head. Like, this man will never let me live it down when we went go-karting, and they had to, it was like 3 or 4XL helmet, and I just looked you dead in the eyes and said not one damn word, but the smile on his face was priceless.
Somebody suggested you being a lineman, Mason.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah, I do something with his gut then. Well, it's not too bad nowadays, but
I don't know if it's that big, but he wants to keep a bunch of hair on it too, which makes it look even bigger.
hey, I leave it like this for the winter time. Besides, I don't let him cut my hair no more.
Let's see. Somebody asked if I was in Springfield lately. I just left Springfield a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's considered a swing state there, Eduardo.
What are you talking about?
He's talking about how big my head is.
Oh.
You're a congressman. Yeah, swing state.
So I was out in Springfield for about 5 days before that. And I was sick for like the last 2.5 of those days. I mean, like really sick. Actually, probably shit. I might have been sick for the whole damn time. I got sick the day after I went out with Twisted D to dinner. So whatever day that was, I might have been sick. I might have been sick for 5 days up there. Has trucking been hard on my family? Do I miss the cooking days at all? I do miss the cooking days, and I wouldn't say it's been hard, but it's impacted it to some degree.
I ain't gonna lie though, it would have been really neat to see you and Thyron compete on Netflix on that smoking show.
No, I'm not. If Thyron's on here, Thyron will tell you. If there was anything, if there's a competition between me and Thyron at T&T Barbecue, I'm pretty sure, because he was calling a brother in the middle of his competition, asking for some advice. So, yeah.
But yeah, no, Thyron, if you're here, I saw that first season.
He's
Much
not
love.
here.
Oh, damn.
I'm just saying, if he was here, he'd be saying, Lyle can burn it up out there on them smokers. And
I say back in your heyday cooking, you getting smokers for free. You got 5.
let's see.
You got 5 of them, don't you?
Okay, somebody said they saw my truck. Well, there's 2 of my trucks in Springfield this morning. I don't know if my driver got out yet, but he was taking one of the trucks up to Peterbilt, and then he was going to get a load in the other one. So there were 2 orange ones up in Peterbilt, or up at the terminal this morning. Let's see. You start craving the weirdest shit. I think it's the fact that you really can't eat all that well when you're out on the road that much. For some reason, when I got home, the one thing I told my wife to make, and this sounds stupid as fuck, I said, get some cucumbers, some cherry tomatoes, some red onions, some feta cheese, some olive oil, some red wine vinegar, and just throw that shit together with some garbanzo beans. That's what I was craving. I have no reason why that was the case, but it was. Eduardo, what really I need to do is, as far as either driving or not, the thing is this. and that's always the stuff that you don't ever consider, is if everything is perfect, everything is great. But trying to get every single truck running at the same time without having no issues on one of the trucks or somebody taking some home time or somebody, having to go to the shop or somebody. I mean, there's always a reason why everything's not always clicking to where it almost would be hard to just sit on the sidelines and do that. I think by the time I would even think about getting to that point, I'm going to be out of this shit. I'm not trying to see how long. I'm not one of these motherfuckers out here that's like, well, I heard that if as soon as you retire, that's the first day you're dying. Man, I'm going to test that fucking theory because as soon as I have a chance to retire, whatever, it's fucking happening. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to be making no money, but I ain't trying to be working into, past my early 60s at the, first thing, get my wife doing her little thing, maybe taking her retirement. I might do some other shit to make some money or whatever, but I ain't trying to. I don't fucking like driving trucks in the first place, let alone driving them after I'm fucking, financially able to retire. So anyway, yeah, I don't know where that came from or what point I was trying to make. What's the worst experience I've had with team or trainee driving? Like, did some take a dump while you were driving? All right. The worst experience was my first trainer. And he'd been talking down to me for since the day he picked me up. So he'd been talking down to me this whole time. The truck was basically filthy when I first fucking got in it. But I was like, you know what? It's the price I got to pay. So the bed was kind of like that yellowish stain on it. And it was kind of frayed and shit. So much dust that you could just write your name on shit. Anyway, I'm thugging it out. I'm going ahead and handling it. And probably the third day, we're driving through West Virginia into Pennsylvania. And I came off of the training pad in Salt Lake City, so I didn't know how to use no jake brakes. I didn't know how to do nothing. So I'm driving. He's asleep. I'm on 79. And for those of you guys aren't truck drivers, 79 in West Virginia and the Pennsylvania, that's about as curvy and as up and down as you could possibly be. So basically, it broke me. So I basically just stopped and said, I can't do it. So make a long story short, I got over that. I just said, either I'm just going to put this in the side of him. Not that day. I got over it in a different drive shift. But my theory was, if I'm too scared to drive, I might as well drive as hard as I can and trust the vehicle. And so anyway, I got over it. So we were at this Walmart, and I can't remember which Walmart. It might have been the Pottsville, PA Walmart, but I'm not sure. I go inside to go. I might have been going to take a shit. Who knows? I just went inside, do whatever I do. Come back out. In the passenger seat, there's this big old Home Depot bucket. And he used to keep shit in this bucket. And I mean shit like pots, pans, random shit in this bucket. Anyway, so I was used to it kind of being around. So I pick up the bucket, set it off to the back, and then he's like, well, what happened to that bucket that was there? And I said, I set it over here, whatever, whatever. And he says, oh, good. I just wanted to make sure because I just shit in that bucket. And that was when I said, okay, I cannot take this shit anymore. So I said, the next time something comes up, I'm fucking going off. I'm not swallowing no more of this shit. So we were at this shipper, and he was in the back sleeping. I was up front. It was like my drive shift. And they're loading everything on. They get done. They tell me, listen, we're not ready for you to go yet, but can you pull up and pull out so we can get this other truck in here? And you could just wait over there for us to get a seal on it. So I'm like, okay. So I start the truck. The truck's not air, the truck transmission needed air and all this kind of stuff. So what I had learned in Salt Lake City was step on the gas or whatever, and then it'll help inflate the air faster, whatever, which is probably stupid anyway. So he just fucking went off on me. And I'd said, if this motherfucker goes off one more time, it's on. So he goes off, and I wasn't sure how hard I wanted to go in on him yet. So I was like, I tried to command his attention in an authoritative way. I said, listen, if I'm doing something that you don't like, it's either because I don't know any better or I was trained different. I'm not going out of my way to piss you off. And then he starts rumbling and grumbling, talking about some shit. And I said, listen, that's all I learned in Salt Lake City. And here's where he made the mistake, is he said, that's why I don't like taking trainees from Salt Lake City. You guys are out there doing all your training on the pad. You guys don't know shit and all this stuff. And I was like, listen, motherfucker. And I just laid into him. I was like, I sat back here and let your raggedy ass talk shit to me for the last week and a half. And I said, I'm done with this shit. And he's like, he was like an older white dude. He kind of reminded me of like Maxwell Smart, for you older people that watched that show back in I guess it was playing in the 60s or something like that. But anyway, he's like trying to find his words, but they're not coming to him fast enough. He's like, he's like, the last person that talked to me like that, I left on the side of the road. I was like, motherfucker, you could leave me on the side of the road in India and I'm going to be home in 4 days. So you got to do whatever the fuck you want to do. And then he starts going off. And I'm going to call the fleet manager, and you're not going to be working for Prime and all this stuff. Well, for anybody that knows me knows I'm a networking motherfucker. So I'd already like had a network of people within Prime already like kind of built up, whether it was in-house, people that had been at Prime for a while. So first thing I did, as soon as he starts going off, is I started making my call. So he'd called my fleet manager, and he leaves the truck, trying to have this private conversation. And meanwhile, I'm getting all my information I need. And so the determination is made, okay, we're going to drop me off at the Springfield terminal, and should be able to get there on his drive shift. Good to go. So gets a call back about 30 minutes later. And the call from the fleet manager is like, hey, man, could you guys deliver this load? And I didn't know what a good paying load was at the time. I didn't know what a bad paying load was. But it was just like, this load pays a lot of money. If you guys could just drop this load off, I can get you back here and get them off the truck. So now he comes to me saying, hey, Jane, or our fleet manager wants to know if you could just, if we could do this load and blah, blah. So I say to him, listen, this is business. It's not personal. If it's going to help you out, I don't have a problem helping you out. And then that's where he lost it again. You help me out. You ain't shit around here. I'm the one helping you out and all this kind of stuff. And I said, you dumb motherfucker. All you had to say was, yes, we'll do it or whatever. But that's pride fucking with your head. Now take my ass back to the fucking terminal. So anyway, went back to the terminal, and, a little bit after, there's a little bit more to the story after that, but that basically is that. That's the only bad story that I've had as far as, teaming or training. I've been lucky that the ride back to the terminal. All right, so the ride back to the terminal was for about the first, before we actually got on the drive, when I think he was trying to figure, I don't even know what he was trying to do. When he was telling me that I was about to get fired, I think he felt one way, but then after he heard me on the phone with all these other people, he knew that I wasn't just somebody that was just going to be like, well, my trainer said I'm fired, I might as well leave. Or, I was getting everything in place. So we're about maybe 2 hours away from the terminal. And then all of a sudden he starts breaking down like I'm fucking Dr. Phil or Oprah or some shit. He's like, hey man, I'm sorry about everything. I just been stressed out and, this and that. And, I don't want you to get in trouble or anything like that. So how about when they ask if anything happened, I'm just going to say that it was a personality conflict. It wasn't that you did anything wrong or anything like that. So at that point, I was just like, man, if that's what you want to tell them, that's fine. I don't really care either way. And so the fleet manager did ask me the next day, so what happened? And I said, well, what did he say? And he said, well, he said that there was just a personality conflict. I was like, that's what he said. I'm cool with that. So that was pretty much the drive back. It really wasn't. So that was that. But I was lucky with all my students. I mean, I had some beasts as far as students go. I mean, I had one dude, the autistic kid. I think he was like 23 or 24. He was probably the closest that I could find to me as far as like the minute you wake up like ready to go, like motherfucker would drive 7 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, take his 30-minute and 1 second break and get out there and drive, 11 out, 10 hours, 59 minutes. I mean, no matter what time of day, night, whatever, that motherfucker was ready to go. So I was lucky with him, but then there were some issues as far as communication, stuff like that. But all the people that I trained were, I might have switched my schedules a little bit if I felt like they were getting a little, like some people won't tell you they're solar powered truckers, but they give you just enough clues to make you understand that, yeah, there's some solar power tendencies here. So I'll go out and change up schedules and stuff like that. But for the most part, we weren't out here doing, like, I'm hearing these stories. People are saying that they're here, that their students are like, I'm hearing these horror stories from trainers. Like, my student said that, I'm not driving this long. And man, all my students were 11 out, like pretty much full clock commandos for the most part. I never, maybe every now and then getting a little tired, but that's also because of how I ran the clock. I didn't do I'm driving from midnight to 12 and you're driving from 12 to midnight. We ran them clocks out. So if you got on your 14, then you'd run your 14 out. If you were on your 11, you'd run your 11 out. And it always kind of rotated. So it does lend to you being a little bit more tired, but it really what it does is it builds that dog up in you is what it'll do. It puts that stress on you. So when you're out on your own, nothing will ever be that hard. All right, let's see. I got a real bad gay dude for an instructor at Prime. After 1 month with him and got my CDL and moved to a new guy for a trainer. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with a gay dude being a trainer. Personally, I mean, unless he was trying to get in my draws or something, but I don't know. I don't see that happening, but hey, if you could drive if you could drive, I don't care what anybody is, because I'm gonna like you hear all these people that are like trainers and they were saying, well, I'm gonna have my student like really work now. Man, my students always fucking did work. Like there was never a time when they didn't earn their pay, no matter how you wanted to pay them, because they were they fucking put in work. That is no joke. And I would be that's the fear. I've been hearing a little bit more stories from trainers, and I'm a little bit quicker than most to get rid of people because I could be likely to misinterpret somebody saying something the wrong way and being like, okay, we're back to the terminal, because I'm not playing no games. I'm not like I will outdrive every single student. There's never been a student outdrive me. There's never been a co-driver that outdrive me. It just won't let it happen because I lead from the front, and nobody's ever going to be able to say, well, I'm putting in all the work, or nobody could say I haven't done what they've done. So I always will keep it like that. But I can't do what I've been hearing some of these people complaining about. I just can't do it. All right. Did all the people who work on your LLC start as a trainee for you? No. Now listen. Yeah, I mean, if you're really gonna think about it, as far as anybody, like if I was with somebody, student, trainee, trainer, and they were gay, the first thing I'm gonna think is, it could just be it could be a factor. It could just be perception, but I'm gonna bet that most if there's a guy out there and he's living that lifestyle, chances of getting them showers is probably increased by about 24%. So there's a little bit of light at the end of that rainbow right there. Shamarcus, what's up, man? I wish I could have gone out and had dinner with you that other day, but boy, I have been fucked up. Still kind of got a little bit of that in me. Yeah, me and Shamarcus, boy, we have been going through it like every fucking way you could find to lose money or some shit like that lately. It's been happening. And he's had like some shit that, woo. I don't remember if it was you or not, but did somebody put in DEF in a fuel tank or fuel in a DEF tank or something? Or was that somebody else? But yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, Marcus, somebody was asking about, should they add trucks and do all this kind of stuff? And I was like, if anything, I'm gonna start shrinking it down. But there was that post in that Facebook group, the Small Fleet Owners Facebook group, where the guy was talking about how some of the stuff he's been going through, and he said his best driver was on a load, stopped in Pittston. He was going to be there for about 24 hours, went to a bunk room, drank a bunch of beer, left the beer in the trash can, and ended up getting fired. So he lost his best driver because the driver was stupid enough to leave beer in the fucking or beer cans in the bunk room in Pittston. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Mason's downstairs now, but you know, I'm actually pretty proud of Mason. I was concerned about Mason growing up because, well, I was having to try to keep a firm foot in his ass. I mean, it took a little bit of work. All right, the first time I got with him, I said I needed a shower. He grabbed a little bag with no clothes and went. Yeah. Every now and then I'll see my first trainer at the terminal. Every now and then. And then the thing about it was then he wanted to be an asshole, not to me. Like right up front, before we got, I forgot why we stopped at the terminal. We stopped at the terminal. Maybe my trainer was like Tim Travels. Every time you're within 100 miles of a terminal, you got to stop through there in the middle of a load. But we were there for some reason. And we were out like past the Millennium where the loaded trailers are. So this would be the second day. But anyway, he's like, all right, we're going to leave in 20 minutes. I was like, all right, I'm going to run inside and take a piss. He actually got mad, not because I had to take a piss, but he's like, at some point, I forgot how he was putting it. At some point, you're going to break down. And basically he was saying I should just go ahead and piss behind the catwalk right there at the terminal. But the day before that, we'd gone into the terminal. He asked for a steak or something like that. And I think they've changed it a little bit. At the time, I don't know what they were thinking, but they were cooking steaks from frozen. And it was taking a while. And he's all huffing and puffing and going off and, basically making the cook feel like shit. So finally, he gets his shit and walks away. And I'm over here, a fucking TNT student, apologizing for my trainer's behavior. Yep, Schmarkus, I might be trying to reduce mine by 1 a year coming up here in a minute. But my trainer left Prime, my good trainer, the one that got me next. Fuck. Trying to chase his music career. That hasn't popped off, but he is probably making a little bit of money doing it. So he's doing that. And he was a young dude. And he's what made me realize what being a fucking runner was about. Because I would have had no idea. It was like I was almost being taught to do loads. I was almost being taught to trip plan loads to get there as close to like your appointment as possible. And I don't mean getting to the shipper or receiver. I mean getting to the area, so. My second trainer is the one that came in with that discipline. Lyle, we don't do no windows. So anyway, you know, I think the whole automatic stick shift thing, obviously, it's a little bit more complicated. The guy that and I know it's different in cars and semi. You know, the guy that I talked to that probably was my inspiration to get in the truck, and he's been driving since '94. I'm the one that taught his ass how to drive a fucking stick way back in the days, and I mean that took some time and all that kind of stuff. I just don't. I think that. I think the whole stick thing is made a little bit more complicated than it probably is, and it's just another way to separate people out, whether it be by you can't even say by performance because not everybody's had a chance to perform, but a lot of it's by age or by timing or whatever. But it's just another way to kind of look down on a motherfucker. Michael Roach, yeah, I don't really talk about who my fleet manager is too much, but yeah, those would be the correct initials. Well, I understand that shifting is different and it's harder and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think that. Here's what I don't think. I don't think a whole bunch of people got in the industry that are thinking, "Oh shit, let me get in now. They have automatics." I mean, when I got into it, I didn't know whether they were automatics, stick shifts, whatever. I mean, to me, it was getting into the industry. Whether it was a stick shift or automatic, nothing really mattered. Like there was that was not in my mind. And I don't think it's in most people's minds that are getting into driving trucks. And a lot of people, you know, before it was stick shifts, it was like, you know, there was a motherfucker out on a horse and he was like, you know, when they went from horses to like actual trucks and people were like, man, these new guys, they wouldn't have been able to be out there on them horses. Yeah, they would have been able to be out there on them horses if all there was horses. So people are going to adapt. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of hard ass shit, but life moves on. Things get easier, you know. And I just would. Now, one thing I will say about stick shifts and all that is manual transmission is. Why would I want to work? Why would I want to work harder and do the same job? That and get worse fuel. I mean, I don't know. I don't. If anything, I want the job to be as easy because okay, maybe having a stick shift makes the job a little bit less boring because if there's one thing about this job, it's got to be the driest, most boring ass shit to do in a day. So maybe that makes things a little bit better, but I'm just trying to get through. It could be automatic, it could be a stick, it could be whatever. And I get not because of the automatic. I give it up to all them old school to me, the thing that if I was to say was harder, because I do remember driving my boy's truck back in like he got a brand new truck. I remember it was probably a year-old truck back in like 95, 96. It was like a blue Freightliner. And I don't remember why he was letting me drive it. He was like I just remember the shit didn't have no power steering. That right there or it was very limited power steering, that would be worse than the fucking automatic or manual. Hey, there you go. Try running a truck without a GPS. Listen, the one thing that pisses me off about my trucking career is I had to actually use my fucking Atlas one time. I was in training and they had a road closed and I had to kind of figure out how to get somewhere. What I really wanted to do is make it my entire trucking career, however short that is, without ever having to get into that fucking Atlas. I'm still pissed off that broke my streak right off the bat. But yeah, I was back in the day. Listen, a lot of people my age have been truck driving for years, act like, you know, they're fucking wizards because they know how to look at a map. I mean, fuck, I was out there trying to figure out where the fuck I was going before you even had like MapQuest. Like you had to use a map or what do they call it, a timer's guide or something like that. You had to use some shit to figure out where you were going. Like you couldn't like Google the shit because there was a time later when you could Google directions. Yeah, these guys. Listen, I'm not the most technologically savvy person in the world, but when I see people with these atlases that are wore out on their dash, I'm just like, what the fuck am I not getting? Like I could see maybe having to pull it out every now and then, but I mean, you gotta use some technology. Like we're putting well, it's been a while since we put people on the moon, but we got all this technology and shit, and we're out here fucking around with maps. I don't get it. And it's not even that safe. You know, I mean, I know Junior jokes around, you know, because I think he does run. He may not use a truck GPS, but he at least runs something. Like, just from a safety standpoint, and obviously the longer you're out here, the more you know things off the top of your head. But can I just imagine just having something written down? Okay, I'm going to take I-70 to I-79, and I don't, you know, just that little heads up, like that turn is coming up in a quarter mile or eighth of a mile or whatever. That is safety right there. Anyway, enough about that. Yeah, Matt. I talked to my friend that's been driving for a long ass time a lot about that, and he does get a little grumpy old man. I'm older than him, but he does get a little grumpy old man with me every now and then, you know, because he's that guy. I mean, he is that grumpy old truck driver. You pull up a picture of him. Yeah, I was in the Marines with him, but he's a flatbedder in Alabama, and that motherfucker is so grumpy, boy. Yeah, I don't even want to say GPS. He is one of them people. But listen, he could be like that because for the last like 12, 13 years, he's been running the same fucking route. So he doesn't need a GPS. I do have a story. I'm not going to tell it. But sometimes the GPS can send you on the wrong path as well. Now, here's the thing. Matt's saying everything, you know, was directions from the Qualcomm or call. First of all, if the Qualcomm directions are as bad as the ones that we get, it's amazing that you could get there with those directions alone. And secondly, trying to get these shippers and receivers to even answer the phone. I mean, when I'm calling to ask, can I come in early? How early can I come in? Whatever. You can never get them to answer the phone for that, let alone trying to give somebody some directions somewhere. See, next thing I need to do, I'm trying to give him hints on getting different stuff next time. This is a 2-year age, which, you know, he hit on everything else I was talking about. I might have to tell him, you know what, next time on this next bottle, I might need at least 7 years. Yeah, if you somebody had said that they were just up at the terminal last week. Boy, there were so many people up at the terminal last week that had been at Prime for like a long time. They had all them patches going up and down their arms. You didn't know if you wanted to salute, bow, you know, what to do. People were out there with like 15 patches on one side, 15 on the other. Yeah. Yeah, that was my trainer. In case you happen to see him out on the road, he's not with Prime anymore, but young buck right there. He's sporting the watch that I gave him. If you barely look over here, that watch, this picture doesn't do it any justice, but that watch right there, that was a sweet ass fucking dive watch that I gave him. Because my son, he wasn't like, you know, he's more, you know, my trainer's an old soul at heart. And most people don't wear normal watches these days. It has to be some bullshit. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I am going to pull up a picture right quick. Hold on. My daughter's trying to act like her kid is like some shit you need to be trying to shield from every fucking thing. Hold on a second. Let's see. There you go, right now. All right, so that's about it. Shit. Glad you guys were here to help share this little bottle of whiskey with me, or bourbon. Well, bourbon whiskey with me. Let's see if your boy Tim travels. Anybody here watch Tim Travels at all? Let's see what he's up to. Guess not.
Hello.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Nothing. I hear you were just up at the terminal fucking around.
What's that?
Said I heard you were up at the terminal just fucking around.
Yeah, that's me. Fuck around. Now I stopped because this trailer I had on my back, well, I still got it. I'm on my way to the terminal. But it had the purple light was on. But like, oh, but when I picked it up, it was dark and I didn't really, like, I'm checking everything. But I didn't notice until I went to, like, I stopped at the truck stop and I could see there was more light on because I pulled into the very first pump at Love's, and they got the tire.
You will
service
definitely
thing.
stretch a story out.
And so I was like, oh man, there's airline missing from the tire. But somebody had plugged it. So the tire was inflated, but so then they replaced it and the freaking light is still on, so I don't know what it is.
Let me ask you this. Why were you stopping at a terminal in the middle of a load in the first place?
Oh, because I had so much time.
Well,
And it actually routed me through Springfield. That was the suggested route.
I think you just like bitching. So you be putting yourself in positions where you might have something to bitch about, and then you could do a video about it.
You spent way more time in terminals than I did.
Oh, come on! I'm there for a reason. I don't ever stop in the middle of a load.
I was there for a reason too. I'm like, okay, well, this trailer's fucked up, and in the interim, I also got all the work done on my truck. I accomplished all that, and I got seen by the chiropractor. All of that.
Man, I didn't think old people like you believed in no fucking chiropractors and shit.
I've been using chiropractor for a few years, several years now, probably.
All right. Hey, I was just calling to say what's up. Somebody mentioned you a while back, so I figured I'd get you on live right quick. So,
Yeah.
All right.
Are you doing a video right now?
Yeah, you're on the video right now.
Oh man, I feel privileged now. I'm glad I wasn't like swearing a lot or whatever.
Well, that would have made it better had you done that, but I'm about to get off anyway. I was just calling to say what's up.
But you know what was cool about being in? I'm going back to Springfield tonight, but I saw a lot of friends. Like I saw a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a while, and I gave out some T-shirts, and so it's all good. I saw one of your drivers, and sat down with him last night. It was a good time. And I actually just stopped to see my son, because he's kind of like stuck in, what is this town? Neosho. His truck's getting worked on, so I stopped by the hotel he was at. Now I'm on my way to Arkansas.
All right, well, I'm about to be on my way to take my ass to sleep.
All right, man.
All right.
Thanks for calling me.
All right, I'll check you out later.
All right, bye.
All right, bye. All right, anyway, that's it, man. Just that's old Terry. Terry be loving to complain about some shit. But that's all. I'm about to get off this phone after I take this last little sip. I appreciate you guys. Stopping by. If you happen to see me out there on the road, holler at your boy. Hopefully I'll be back in Springfield sooner than later, but I think my driver that's driving my truck just headed out today. So I don't think his truck's going to be done, let's say 4 days, 5 days minimum. Plus there's a snowstorm going to come through Denver. And I don't want to leave in the middle of no damn snowstorm. See, Terry doesn't. Here's the thing. As far as the complaining goes, I don't know if Terry just complains to complain. There's obviously a higher standard that he places on certain things than others, but I can't explain it. No, there's not always a snowstorm in Denver. Denver has like one of the cities with the most sunny days in a year of any of the states in the country. Let's ask a question. Hey Google, how many sunny days a year does Denver get? 300. Whatever. So out of the whole 365 days in a year, Denver has 300 days of sunshine. So we do get some snow, but it's not like bad. And the difference between here and Detroit and Chicago and some of these other places, we don't get brown snow around here. Usually it snows, boom, and it's gone. It's melted before it gets gets dirty. And yeah, sunny doesn't equal warm, but it's not like it's snowing out here all the time either, though. Yeah, I know the last time. I remember it snowing. I don't remember what year it was. Had to been like what, 95? It snowed in Atlanta. Maybe it was 97. It was somewhere in the 90s. And they were dumb enough to put a Super Bowl down in Atlanta. And it had one of them ice storms down there. And they obviously weren't ready for that one. One thing I can say about Denver is they do put in that work. See, we're not a very religious group of people out here, so we don't let it snow and be out here praying about some shit. We go to action, and they're pretty good about it, especially in the metro area. If you get a little bit too far out east or a little bit too far out west, you might be in for it. But the city limits, they put in that work. Yeah, I happened to hear your name come up quite a bit last night. Midlife trucker. I was listening to your boy brag. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna put him out there, but bragging about how much money he's making for drive-in and all this stuff. And he loves bringing up your channel. Midlife trucker is somebody out there. Now, I don't really go into numbers or anything like that, but he puts out numbers like every week, probably since he got into trucking. So anybody that likes to know what numbers or what numbers people are putting out there, Midlife trucker Tom Bell works for Cheeseman, and he's been putting out a weekly income recap probably since day one, if I remember correct. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with putting out numbers. What I do think there's something wrong with, it's definitely not as bad if you're company. But if you're a lease, like, for example, people, and I'll pick on my company, I'll be the first one. You have some people at Prime that are talking about how much money they're making and, all this shit, and they're putting out numbers. Well, unless they put out numbers every fucking week since day one, it's irrelevant, right? Because anybody could lease a truck for a year and put up their numbers for a year and have those numbers be somewhat accurate until they got to pay $4,000 for tires, or until they had to some other shit. Like they got sick or whatever the situation is. But I'll say a lot of people at Prime don't know that they're not putting out correct numbers, or they're putting out correct numbers, but those numbers are in a vacuum because they don't understand what can actually happen, what could fucking go wrong. And some of it, I don't really get mad about it because I think some of it is just plain ignorance, not knowing any better. But I think you could lead people down the wrong direction if that's what you keep talking about. So anyway, that's the only reason I don't put out numbers, because I mean, I can remember a time that, you could always you could even talk about 6 months in a row or whatever, but unless you encompass everything, because it could be that one time that it could be stupid shit that hits you that's not going to be covered by warranty, that takes a long time to get fixed. That's not your fault. I know somebody that, well, it happened to me too, but I know somebody that it cost them more. They got bad debt from a place. And when they found out that they had and they couldn't go any further, they ended up having to get towed. That tow bill wasn't covered. I don't think that the place they got bad debt from reimbursed them for it, and the truck was down a while. Well, how do you? Okay, so let's even say you've made $3,000 a month for the last month. So let's say you made $12,000 that month, but then boom, here comes $2,000. And you start getting hit upside the head with these bills. Well, that money gets subtracted from somewhere. Oh yeah, I got hit too. Yeah, that was my first Peterbilt, the gray Peterbilt. I got hit. Boom, down for that. I mean, so I just think it's a bad. I think that. How can I explain it? I don't think it's a wise thing to do. But then, even if it gets done, there are two different types of people that do it. There's the person that is showing the numbers and everything like that to help people. And then I think there's the people that are showing the numbers to make their self look better. And that's, even though I don't think either of them are the right move, I think there's a lot of people out there trying to humble brag about some shit that comes off looking a little bad as well. So yeah, I like the new truck. I drove that truck for a month, and my initial thing was to get the new guy in the oldest truck. But after I drove that truck for a month, I was like, man, this truck is, because sometimes you'll know if there's going to be any issues with the truck, like right off the bat. That truck I knew was going to be a good truck. So I just said, let me get in the old truck. Based on last year, I paid it for a lot of fucking vacations last year and not that anybody chose to go on vacations. That's not the thing, but it's never the truck you're in. That's the one thing I learned. It was never me breaking down where I could just say, okay, I'll just eat it and do whatever. It was always somebody else breaking down. So if anybody's going to break down, I hope it's going to be me. And that's the reason I wanted him to go on the newer truck. But yeah, it looks good. I like the way it drives. Although I did fuck up that little front skirt on the right because of some packed snow. That kind of pissed me off, but it's cosmetic, so it's not that big of a deal. Well, Tom, like I said, I don't think that your motivation of giving those numbers is the same as a lot of people that give numbers. And your channel is based on that, so I understand that. But do I expect a prime driver? Let's just say prime, since I'm at prime, a prime driver to every single week put out every single number that's First of all, it would just be I don't know. It just seemed like it would be a lot of fucking work. But you would never. I've never seen. Cash is King. He does it on his channel. But it would take such consistency for that to actually be relevant. And I don't think that the average person that is putting out numbers is going to do that, because I think the average person putting out numbers is trying to humble brag. So that once you get past that, I think that you're not left with a lot of people. So anyway. And listen, I thought I was doing it. I was one of those people that was too stupid to know any better. And the reason I think I did 2 videos, maybe where I put out numbers. And the reason I did it, heart was in the right place, was because at the time that I came out of training, there was a lot of people talking about people like it just being stupid and people going broke and this and that. So I was trying to talk about that perception being wrong. And that's the reason that I did it. And I think that I didn't have a problem. I still don't have a problem with doing that. But Junior Honduras is the one that said, "Wow, I'm not sure that," we kind of had that conversation. And it was that gave me the understanding that I'm not going to be here I'm not going to be here every single week putting out fucking numbers, because that's not my shit. So unless I was going to be doing that, putting out one random pay video here or there wasn't going to make sense. Or if I wasn't going to be committed to do a video every week. Man, some of you guys are committed, and this new batch of prime YouTube truckers, well, these guys are not fucking around. They're out there setting up. They're out there like CGI in this motherfucker. Boy, they're out here setting up cameras in the dock. They got the fucking they got the forklift with the fucking GoPro on the motherfucker. And they're out there setting up shit 20 feet away, getting the side angle when they're backing. Fuck, I'm drawing a blank. Had that guy end up shaming him into doing some, putting some thought into some videos. Even Jim C out there, backing into a dock 20 feet away. Okay, let me set up my camera over here. And then, back into the dock. Then, all right, let me set it up over here so they can see me pull my handle out, and do all this shit. These guys are taking this shit serious. Anyway. Especially the girls. If you were a girl at Prime, you were definitely putting it in. I told, I know she's not on here anymore, but I was talking to Misfit Flatbedder, and I told her as soon as she started doing a channel, I was like, you're about to blow up. Because first of all you got to do is kind of give a fuck, and I really don't do that much. I don't get I'm like one take and I'm out. No editing, no driving, no separate views, no nothing. And she did all that, and I was like, you're about to kill it, and she's killing it. And everybody that I suggested do a YouTube channel that started it has far out surpassed anything I've done, at least at Prime. Tom, I'm not sure if I'm very comfortable talking into a camera. I'm comfortable talking on the phone. And to be honest with you, that is the one thing that I miss about my last business was talking. You know, like I could make, 50 phone calls in a day, whatever. And a lot of the time, like Tom, you could have done a mortgage with me 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I might just be going through my shit and just call you up and talk about anything today. You know what I mean? I miss that, I just miss talking to a lot of people. I miss cold calling people. I miss fucking with people. Like, like people hanging up on I used to make such a game out of it. Like if I was like if I had somebody, if I paid some money for some leads or whatever, and they were call these people they're interested in mortgages, and I called and people were like hanging up, I'd like fucking make a game out of it. I'd be like, hey Tom, looks like we have a pretty good game of phone tag going on here. I used to have fun. I miss that. I don't miss the stress, but I miss the fun of that shit. And I do miss a little bit of the professionalism that went along with that business. And what I mean by that is, Tom, I don't know if you think this as well, or if it's the same at your company, or it's just a trucking industry thing, is I miss the people that are in charge of you or have something to say about what's going on with you are the people that actually have been where you've been. Like every other industry that I've been in, whatever, know people in, whatever, it would be a lot easier for me to swallow some of the things that people say or how they say it had I known, you know what, this motherfucker over here has gone through it. I understand it. He may not be doing it now, but I know he's gone through the same shit I went through. In a way, and this is the first time I'm saying it, but even like a long time ago, I was in training and I was kind of looking at these pipelines in trucking. And I looked at the internal pipeline, how you get into the trucking industry, whether it's dispatch or, whatever, and you work your way through that pipeline, or else you come through trucking. And there's really not much deviate. Like you're almost either a trucker or you're not. You sometimes can branch into other stuff, but I specifically remember I'm in the dispatcher's office with my trainer, my second trainer at the time, and I'm hearing a conversation going on between this truck driver and the fleet manager, and it's not confrontational, but it's not a comfortable conversation. And the one thing I got out of that conversation was this guy right here, this dispatcher, he wasn't my dispatcher, doesn't mean it couldn't have happened. This dispatcher over here is talking to this driver about, whatever the situation is. And this dispatcher has zero shit in the game. Like he doesn't have anything personally invested in anything. But this driver over here has everything invested. And I'm like, it didn't really click at the time. I'm like, now I can look at it and say, okay, I have somebody over here that's got all the bright ideas telling this driver how to do stuff. He doesn't have anything invested in it. He's not going to lose any money this week. Like, you ain't going to have a dispatcher or a safety director or safety manager or any of these people in these companies going to lose money. But they're going to be the ones telling this guy over here who's 100% invested, has everything to lose, and has most definitely at least gone a week without making a paycheck. And if he's only been a company driver, then he's had a short week one week because of certain things. And I just thought that dynamic has just rubbed me, not necessarily it's rubbed me the wrong way, that the people that have the most influence in the trucking industry, a lot of those people have not actually been truck drivers. And I've heard people in those positions say they've been in trucking for X amount of time. And I'm like, no, you've been in the trucking industry for this amount of time, but you ain't been in the trucking. That's two totally different things. Like a TNT student has done more trucking than sometimes I've heard these statements being made. But tell me if I'm wrong. Let's get some comments down there. Does anybody else feel that way? Maybe I'm wrong. But that right there is the one thing that irritates me. Is I had something similar happen in the car business years ago, where there was well, I've had it happen a couple times. There was a guy, if you live in San Diego, I don't know if the guy's still here that was in San Diego, but I used to work at Drew Ford in San Diego. Now, the old man that owned the place, his son started off washing cars. Then he worked his way like literally up from the bottom. Then when he graduated Wyoming State or whatever, then he came back and then they got put in management, but he'd already put in that work. Well, I worked at another place where this guy just puts his little son, mid-20s in management position, kicks out a beloved manager that had been in that spot. And now you got somebody that doesn't know anything about the business giving out advice or telling people how to do stuff. It's just, I don't know. Maybe that's a tangent I shouldn't be on right now. All right. Let's see. The owner of Cheeseman is still a driver. See, that's what, that's good shit right there. But is the safety director, and I'm not saying everybody needs to do that, but what I will say, I think, having a fleet manager that was a driver may not always be the best, because I think it would take a special driver to be a good fleet manager. So I'm not saying that just because somebody was a driver makes them a good fleet manager, but there's a level of understanding that had you done that you can, like, you ever see people say, well, how do you say you've never driven a truck before without saying you've never driven a truck before? Some of these questions or some of these comments that you will get from a fleet manager that has never driven a truck are very obvious in that. The second chair in safety is still an active day cab driver. All right, see, that is some hierarchy I can get down with. But I mean, let's be clear, and I don't take anything away from anybody that's in our safety department in my company. Obviously, you got to put in that work to get there. But what I don't, luckily, it's not going to impact me if I was younger, but what I can't see is me coming into a company the same month as, some night dispatcher, both 25 years old, and then 25 years from now, have this other motherfucker be the head of like operations and me just still be a truck driver. That I would have a problem with. Or like, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just have a problem with the fact that it can happen like that. I'm pretty sure that they're accepting them from Arizona. I guess California, I think, I didn't know that they'd stopped. I just didn't think that you could be a lease driver from California. But tell me if I'm wrong. Please in the comments below. Would I be wrong in saying that I would feel a little like just the way the promotion structure is in the trucking industry, that two people can come into the business at the same time, 25 years old, and 30 years down the line, have somebody that has done nothing more than driving a truck and maybe get 25,000 and a million-mile jacket and all this other stuff, where the other guy that came in 25 years is now head of operations or head of some division or head of, whatever. So if you're young, I'm telling you, if I was in my 20s and I was in trucking, it really would have taken me this long for me to be like, okay, I'm switching my path. If I really was, unless I just love driving trucks. Some people just love driving trucks. They want to be BJ McKay. They don't care about anything other than driving a truck. If that's what you want to do, then do that. But if I was 25 years old looking at this dynamic, especially now that these are going to be the people that are going to be trying to micromanage you, as far as, I mean, they're already micromanaging you, but then you want to add cameras, all this other stuff. I'm looking at a different route. Well, Tom, we're different. If we were both 25 years old, I doubt that you would be looking at things the same way. Like I can't really look at this the same way because, I'm at the end of my career, so I don't really care all that much about it. But if I had the wisdom I have now, and I'm 25 years old, and I'm coming into a company the same time somebody else is, and I know what I know now, and I'm looking at this guy being like, okay, I could see where he's pathing out, and I could see where I'm pathing out, and instead of me complaining about the line that I had to wait in watching this movie on Thanksgiving Day, I'm gonna be missing, 20 out of 27 Thanksgivings. Not, you know what? Yeah, I don't know. So if you happen to be young on this channel and you've heard everything I've said, just have a plan, okay? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with trucking, or if you like trucking, do it for however long. But if I was interested in trucking beyond these next 5 or however long years until it's time for me to shut it down, I would be networking. So if I was really interested in moving in-house or doing whatever, I would either shut down my YouTube channel or make it a little bit more, less controversial. I would be well known inside. But I would definitely have a plan in place. And I was kind of having this conversation with my fleet manager, actually, not about this, but I forgot what it was about, but I might have been talking about the stress or, some shit. He's like, well, we're stressed too. I was like, it's a whole different kind of stress. Like, I could understand you got the dispatcher type stress or whatever, but it's not even close to the same level of stress. And I think they might have been listening to kind of what I said, because now it seems like every time somebody's up in a meeting, now they're saying, well, I drove for Prime for however long and now I'm over here. So maybe they're trying to show people that yeah, there are some people that Our drivers doing other shit now, which is good. You aren't lying about that, Tom. You are not lying about that stress. And I mean, I got out of the mortgage business because of the stress. That is kind of the irony of some of this is when I'm looking at some of this stuff, I'm like, you know, I might have put myself right back in the fucking position I was in before. With no fucking reason. All right, so yeah, I never had to worry about I never messed with no Pepto, but you know, that business that I was in, you look at it and you say, like, I didn't really even understand. Like, I left because of the stress, but I don't think that I really understood how deep the stress actually was until I was out of it. And on one side, you know, I'm sitting here telling people, man, listen, my place that I work at is so fucking laid back. I mean, you open up the refrigerator, you got any different kind of fucking beer, wine, or whatever you want. Or you fucking open up one of these cabinets, you got any different kind of tequila, vodka, whiskey, you know, whatever. I mean, that's just at work. And it's just like, you know, it was like 50s style almost. It was like, you know what, you just gonna drink a glass of whiskey with your work or whatever it is. But then as you're out of it, and then you understand why that shit was there. It was there, but it was there because it didn't need to be there, but the stress was so fucking high that that's probably the reason that it was like nobody even questioned it. Like if I was to look back on that, like how many like regular people do you go to their job and they got 5 cases of beer, 2 cases of tequila, or 2 bottles of tequila, 2 cases of whiskey, 2 cases of, or not cases, 2 bottles of, like 2 bottles of every fucking kind of whiskey, you know, whatever. And it was just a different lifestyle. So that was still way more stressful than this. Now, the thing that I loved about that business that I probably will not get out of it, the closest I would have been able to get out of this is if I had students that, like, I only think I got 2 students that are still driving right now, and I don't even know the autistic one, just because he ain't gonna be the type to be going out of his way. But you know, maybe seeing somebody grow up out of that. But you know, I look at some of the people I dealt with, and some I gave financial advice to, some was just mortgages or whatever. But you know, there's a guy that started off as a client, made some of the worst business decisions, you know, or personal family decisions that you ever would have seen made. And you know, you end up doing loans and working for these people for like, or you know, working for these people for like years and years and years, and next thing you know, motherfucker's a judge. Like when I first started doing loans for this guy, you know, he was like you know, 3rd year associate at some random ass law firm, and now boom, he's a judge somewhere. So I will miss seeing some of the people that I've worked with be like, looking at them kind of grow, I guess. And their kids, because I was around before their kids. So right before I got into trucking, he had a party at his house. So I go over to his house, and I think I did a video on my cooking channel about that. But went over to his house, and his kids are there, and I'm just like, man, I remember when you guys like weren't even around. So it's a lot of those connections that I'd missed. That just are not going to be able to come from trucking. Oh, you know what? Another thing. So I was sitting here a little bit bored. I'm sitting at home. Pull out my old Marine Corps yearbook, or not yearbook, but basically a yearbook for the Marines. And, in the Marines, you have like the platoon you're in, and then you have like the series that you're in. So I think there was like 3 platoons that made it my series, and then you have like another group. So there's a bunch of these different platoons that make up, that are kind of in around the same time you're in. So I was like, let me see what some of these people are doing. And I know Rusty's not on here anymore, but Rusty gets very serious about some of this political shit right now, right? So I go through. I didn't do a truck tour on my Peterbilt. Hold on, we'll get to that in a second. I didn't do a truck tour because I am self-conscious. I'm not one of these guys out there walking around with the camera in my face and all that kind of stuff. And when it was time for me to move into that truck, I moved into that truck. That is like one of the worst things to do. So I was just trying to get it over with. But if that truck is the exact same thing as my 2022, 2020, it's the same exact one as the last other 2. So anyway, my point with this other thing is I'm going through my old Marine Corps book and, typing in people's names, seeing if I can find them, this, that, had some luck with some, not luck with others. But what I found was surprising was a lot more people than I expected were Democrat leaning, but that's not the point. I really don't care about that. The point is the people that weren't posting any of that stuff seem to be the happiest out of all of them. And I think that Marty, I think, was just up in here a while back. Rusty's in here. Rusty gets a little amped up politically, but it seems to me that the people that are winning right now in this whole thing are the people that are not out here standing on the sword politically, trying to make, like, people would say, you could live longer if you eat this, or you could live longer if you don't drink that. Well, I think that you could do everything perfectly, but if you're out here stressing yourself out and getting upset about every fucking little thing that happens politically, or every fucking thing that happens, you're up on it, or I mean, I'll be honest with you. I am definitely not gonna. I would say that in terms of politics go, policy-wise, I'm probably a little more conservative. I'm probably more liberal, but just being my background, it just ain't ever gonna be able to be straight Republican. That just cannot happen. But it used to be one of those things where And we can get into that. That's a little bit going back to the 60s and what my mom and uncle and all that dealt with back then. But I used to be a little bit more outspoken about it. And in 2016, my sister died of cancer. And I started thinking about it. And, you know, somebody asked, you know, there's somebody else that I talked to that's at Prime, and she's dealing with cancer right now, too. And I'm just like, what is there to be like all the shit in this world? And I'm going to be like really investing myself in politics or who's president or what they're doing, what they aren't doing, motherfuckers at a border, this or that. And it's like, you're going to stress yourself to fucking death. You know, that's my sister right there. She passed away 2016. She's the one that made me realize, you know what, none of this shit fucking matters. Why am I going to be out here upset about whatever that issue could be? And I'd rather just focus on the shit that is in my life that matters than me getting pissed off about stupid shit. Anyway. Well, Tom, I can move in and out of a truck pretty fucking fast, too. I mean, all I got is a bunch of bags, but I do got a bunch of bags. So I'm the type of guy that can leave and be gone for 5 months and never have to change my fucking... never fucking wash my clothes because I got just duffel bags full of shit. But you got to do that. Then a certain amount of cleaning. I'd probably say it's a good 3 hours, but it's still some work. And it's getting the trucks next to each. I mean, it's a little bit more in depth than that. And, you know, I've stayed so far, and I don't even know how this fucking happened. I definitely wasn't meaning to be this far out. But my daughter had a question as to where I had landed in terms of what I would identify as politically, and that really lets you know how far I was out of the loop. All right, so yeah, man, all I got is like duffel bag. So I might have one duffel bag that would be like all sweatpants or sweatpants variations or something along that line, and then in all the bags there'd be a side pocket that would have like a certain amount of drawers, socks, you know, whatever. So I'd have like all duffel bag or all sweatpants, and then a certain amount of t-shirts with that as well. And then the next one might be all hoodies, and then I might have a bunch of shorts in there with those. But then I'd have some drawers, socks, and all that in the side thing. So I got a bunch of that. And then to stretch it out a little bit is every time I'm taking a shower, I'm going to be washing a pair of drawers like I'm in the Marines by hand. So I always am rotating those through as well. Tom, I'm looking back at one of your last comments a while back talking about retiring at 38, kind of put me in a different mindset. You know, I definitely wasn't ready to retire at 38. here's the worst part about trucking, especially this year in trucking, is it's what I'd warned myself against when I first got into trucking. It'd be easy to walk away from this shit and just be like, fuck it. This really put me in that fuck it mindset. Like, you know what? Fuck all that. Like, I don't need, like, I remember when I was in training, I did a video about this. Called my wife. It was like Salt Lake City, and it's not the same as it was when I. But they used to 40 motherfuckers, and it'd just be like sleeting, snowing, whatever, and you just be out there. And the manager in me is like, why the fuck we don't pull this truck into one of those empty bays that nobody's using and do this shit in there? It would, to me, it was almost like breaking down motherfuckers just to break down motherfuckers. And I called my wife, we're having this conversation. She's like, we don't need this shit. And that's what this summer is, or this winter is making me feel like is really, you know, it's getting to that point where if it's too many more bad fucking weeks out here, I'm just like, what the fuck for? Like, why am I fucking with this shit? This winter has been like no escape, or at least I haven't seen escape this entire fucking winter. And like, it's, you know, the worst part is when, you know, I got to take care of my girl, right? So I got a, you know, female driver, and, you know, you're men, you could just be like, you know, they could thug it out, you know what I mean? But you know, when she's shut down or worried about driving or scared about driving, that weighs on me as well. So my wife made it to Boulder. Can't believe I'm still on here. Well, I've been waiting for people to get off, but I'm about to go lay down with them damn dogs here in a little bit. Yeah, he says he's out here straight stroking his dick with lotion and drunk as fuck. Love you too, baby. See you back in a while. One thing I do want to do when I'm out here is get some damn sushi, though. Yeah, Tom, it would have been good to run into you down there when you were in Laredo a few weeks ago. Had I been able to pick my load up on time, I probably would have ran into you out there, actually, or somewhere out there. Yeah, I got down there. It was probably the worst trip I've made down into the Laredo area. First off, I didn't stop at any good places to get no tacos, right? I stopped at this Fuel America. They had like this, you know, I'm looking at the thing on Trucker Path. They're talking about they got tacos and all this shit. That was about the most gringo taco shit you could ever get. Man, that was probably the worst Mexican food I've could have possibly had. So I wasted some time there, went down to deliver. You have to park on a obviously no parking zone right outside of a neighborhood. But wait, when you're pulling up, all the trucks are parked along the road, right? So at first, I'm not sure if I need to park alongside the road or not. But you have no choice but to pull into the place after a certain point because there's no trucks right after the entrance. There's no trucks past that. So it was just a bad place. So anyway, got loaded, got another load, went directly. Everybody wanted a truck wash, so I needed to get a trailer wash. So I couldn't get a truck wash down in Laredo where I was delivering because everybody and their mom was down there worried about how pretty their truck looked. So I had to drive all the way out on 35 and get a truck wash at the Blue Beacon. So that took forever. Then I came back, got the load, got out, and that was it. But my worst Laredo experience for sure. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that Fuel America. Come here. Chief. 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 You better come here. So anyway. I mean, it's a nice truck stop up there, but definitely. And then the place that I did stop where I was going to be able to get some barbecue. The next day, I needed to drop the load off in Springfield. If I'm doing a repower, I will never, ever, ever stop more than my allotted break. So, because that's my pet peeve is, you know, I'd like to get a load, even if it's getting here early, so I can get somewhere early and relax, right? So I got a load. My clock was going to come back. I think I stopped driving at 12:30 at night. So I mean, I had to start driving at 10:30 in the morning or somewhere around that time. Anyway, there was a barbecue place at this truck stop I had stopped at that I wanted to get, but it wasn't going to open up till 30 minutes after I started driving. So couldn't get any of that. I was talking to, if anybody watches Trucker Crespo on here, he started driving for Walmart. He's driving down 75 north of Dallas or whatever that highway is. I'm coming the opposite way. Oh, we're going to pass each other up. So he ends up stopping. So we don't end up seeing each other. So I was missing everybody. I am about to take a nap. Chief. Come here. Chief. What's up, Myth? Just here for those of you guys that haven't been here from the beginning. Yeah, that's a nice taco place. I didn't feel like I needed to go there because I thought I was going to be at places where I could get all this good stuff, but I didn't make it there. This is the only reason I went on this video in the first place was my son went out of his way to get a good bottle of bourbon, so I figured I would at least show it off in a video. So that's essentially what made me start this live a couple hours ago. Because he does try to go out of his way every time I come home to come up with a nice bottle. Now, he did fuck up a little bit for you new guys that came here. He got some bullshit Colorado bourbon that was like 80 proof. And I had to be like, okay, you got to go back to the drawing board on this. So he ended up getting this. So that's good. Yeah, that's a good Flying J, or that place you're talking about, the school bus. Bandit 579, he was down in Laredo as well. The same time I was down there, and I was so fucking wore out. He called, or I don't remember if you texted me or called me and asked me where I was at or whatever, and I was knocked out. I was at that raggedy ass. I was at the whitest Mexican food place you could ever, or a truck stop place, that Fuel America. Man, that shit, Taco Bell made that shit seem like it was fucking straight from Ensenada. Bandit 579. So if you've seen the Peterbilt 579 that has the Smokey in the band, now that you may or may not care about, but if you happen to have Peterbilt 579, he basically has shown me, now I haven't done it, you could fit a large refrigerator into that Peterbilt, where the clothes and all that in that particular place, in case you're not getting a Peterbilt because of the refrigerator space. So he's found a workaround for that. I don't know if Fuel America's Asian owned or not, but if you start saying you got some burritos and tacos, I mean, I'm not Mexican, but I guarantee you I could own, if I started making some tacos out there, motherfuckers would start a line. This shit was like horrible. Like, so I didn't know the concept of the place. So I go in there and ask for a carne asada burrito. They start grabbing for like some pre-made like meat that was all brown and gray and all shit. I was like, oh, never mind. I'll have the fish, like the regular like tilapia that they had. It was horrible. So I mean, I don't have to be Mexican, but if you know me, you know I can hook up some tacos, and I will have a line out there. Yeah, I mean, that was just very disappointing. Let's see. Is my audio still fucked up? I could be on here too long. Yeah, so Tacoma. I do not like Washington, period. There is, I mean, they do have a few nice truck stops up there, but here's the Washington story for you. I don't remember what off-brand Flying J or Pilot I was at, but my thing is I do not like going out here taking shits with the regular trucking population. So I'll wait till I take a shower or do whatever. So I'm out in Washington with my trainer at the time, and we both really needed to take a shit. So we go and get this shower, right? So I get this shower, and I know I'm about to go take a nice, good, quiet shit. And guess what? The shower did not have a shitter in the fucking place. Man, and plus I had to reverse it now. So normally I'm gonna want to take a shit, then shower. But since they didn't have a shitter in the shower, now I gotta go take the shower, then go find the place to shit, which anyway. I forgot my fucking point on that, but but anyway, that was my shitty, Washington truck stop story, I guess you could say. Taco John's is horrible. There is a nice taco. I mean, we could all talk about these different taco stands or, whatever. Right outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico at that Big Flying J, they got a truck or a little taco truck right there. That place is awesome. I'm not sure I would really be wanting to mess around California with that wild ass weather they're getting out there. Get in and get out, man. Hope you survive. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be. Now, part of the reason I don't like Washington, Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, any of that isn't necessarily because I don't get there enough to really find those places I like, because there are some nice little off-brand truck stops that I love to hit in Washington. But in the winter, I just cannot see going there. Yeah, there is nothing about the Northwest that I find appealing. I mean, better than the Northeast. But what do I get out of it? The loads aren't really paying that much better. I'm burning up a lot of fuel just in going through the mountains. There's not as many options as far as truck stops and all that kind of stuff goes. So I mean, it's just I don't hate it. Like, I hate the Northeast. Like, I just even get like a feeling in my soul when I'm going in the Northeast, like I feel out of place. But Ryan Hall, y'all. Man, I've been talking about Ryan Hall. I was putting people up on Ryan Hall back when he had like 5,000 subscribers. Go back and watch my old videos. Shoot. I had somebody trying to tell me that they were telling me about Ryan Hall. I was like, how long have you been on my channel? I was like, remember way back when I told you about it? Yeah, Ryan Hall is good. Yeah, I was back with Ryan Hall back, like I said, he was like small ass channel. I don't even remember how I found him. I think somebody put me up on him. Okay, I'd much rather run true OTR, but my girl isn't having it. So running regional home time weekends. Here's my thing. If I was in Texas, I would be running. I would be running without Prime, But me in Colorado makes no fucking sense. Being in Colorado is the dumbest shit you could possibly do. because local or regional in Colorado, what does that mean? You're all day over Monument Pass to the south. You're all day over Vale Pass and Wolf Creek and all that shit to the west. You're all over fucking I-80 into Wyoming. You're fucking with too much weather out here. So to me, it makes no sense to do it personally. But if I was like in different areas, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I wouldn't have a problem with it. So yeah, I wish I could do that shit too. Because I'm not trying to change shit. Like, at what point when you're chaining does it make sense? Like, how many hours do you need to save in the process for that effort to make sense? Does anybody have like their personal theories on that? Like, how much time do you need to save by chaining to make that worth it? Yeah, Western Regional, hell no. Mason, here's what we're gonna do. Unlike your mom and everybody else, here's what you do with mail, right? You open it up. See, this is some bullshit, right? This can go right in the trash. Just throw it out in the trash can. Don't even let your mom see that to even come up with any ignorant reasons on why to not throw it away. All right. A couple weeks ago in Oregon, I would have been there for a week. I would have probably maybe had to be there a week. I don't know. That's why I ain't trying to take a load out there right now. Not interested. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm glad that the dedicated Southern California Walmart cross dock can stay gone as far as I'm concerned. Home one day a week and the revenue wasn't too good. What happened to that? Did it Prime end up losing that deal or what? I don't know about everyone else, but I'm glad the dedicated Southern California Walmart cross dock can stay gone. I don't know. I knew somebody that was on that. As a matter of fact, I knew two people that were on that. And the girl I knew that was on, that was in school with her, trucking school. And she felt like the only way that you could do that load was if you basically you couldn't do it running your logs 100% correctly. And it was a bunch of shit. So did we end up losing that deal? What I was happy about, I'm not sure if we lost it or not, but if we lost that Budweiser shit, definitely don't have a problem losing that shit. Man, what is good about the Northwest in the summer? I'm still burning up a whole bunch of fuel that I don't need to burn up. Still don't have, I'm still not as happy about the truck stop situations out there as maybe some of the other parts of the country. The only thing that separates the Northeast from the Northwest in the summer might be, the Northeast is just horrible, so I can't. But tolls. But I don't get a load going to Washington or Oregon and be like, oh, great. I'm gonna be doing some driving today. No, I hate that shit. Nope, I'm just regular black, Matt. Just black. All right, glad to see you're alive and well. Appreciate it. It's always good to run light. One of my least favorite runs, winter or summer, is I-5 out of California through the Shasta Mountains up through there at night. Another one would be 395 from that same area going into Reno, Nevada from the 80 comes into Nevada from the west, so this would have to be the south or something. I hate that run. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna send you a bottle of my favorite. Listen, we could talk about this. Don't send me no rum. Now, normally I'd say don't send me anything, but if you gotta send some, don't send rum. I mean, I got a bunch of women at the house that'll drink the shit out of some rum. Just joking. All right. Let's see. Any Anheuser-Busch was horrible. It didn't matter where it was. It could have been Pennsylvania, Colorado, Van Nuys, Sacramento. There was Cartersville. There's never been an Anheuser-Busch that was good. So if we lost that contract, see ya. Bye. Don't miss any of it. As a matter of fact, Baldwin, New York, we used to get loads out of there. And last time I was up there, I got like a good load out of there. Shitty drive, good load, but normally we're getting heavy ass, cheap ass beer out of that place. So if we lost that, bye. I thought blacks love rum. Shit, black people, most black people you out here, I'm gonna be honest with you, most black people, not me, but most black people, they just want to drink some shit that they heard another motherfucker drink. Why else you see the same motherfuckers? Curvassier, Hennessy, some don't even know how to pronounce some shit. Samoet. So I just happen to drink some shit that I actually know something about. And that doesn't make me any better. It just means I happen to know a little bit more. But maybe most black people love rum just because where's rum from? Like one of them islands and shit. All right. The roads have been shitty, and I didn't notice it as much until Grey Goose is good. I'm not much of a tequila fan unless it's like in a margarita. Like you're never gonna just see me breaking out no bottle of tequila. No matter that shit could be $10,000 a bottle, and there's no way you just see me breaking it out and you. But these roads after this cold streak, some of them potholes have been immense. Arizona and New Mexico have always had bad roads, especially New Mexico right out of California. Moonshine will be all about who makes the moonshine. I actually like shit a little bit more subtle than just like straight up moonshine. Like the reason I like a good bourbon is not just, the process of making it and what is stored in and what barrels they're using. What's the mixture between corn, wheat, rye, whatever. It's a little bit more than just, you know, clear as moonshine or something like that. And not that moonshine can't be good, but it's a little bit deeper than that. But Arizona, New Mexico. All right, I guess Trump is gonna fix the roads. I guess that's something to look forward to. Just them fucking roads. Like I can remember with my last student, we were getting a load going out to California, and I knew what them roads were gonna be like. We'd switched in like Santa Rosa, New Mexico, and if there's one thing I do not play about, it's my sleep. So let's just put it that way. There's just certain things that I like to deal with that are going to make sure that my sleep is not going to be an issue, and definitely need to make sure that your sleep's not going to be an issue coming across 40 from Albuquerque to the fucking California border. You know, I'm gonna be back at Prime. I'm just not sure when. It's not gonna be that long. The 19th. No. I'll probably be back at Prime on the 7th or 8th. Not sure. Probably somewhere in that neighborhood. Texas knows how to build some roads. You better shut up right now. You know what Texas is? Texas, you guys are some biting off more than you could chew motherfuckers in Texas. You guys will tear up a whole 900 miles of fucking freeway and work on 2.5 feet of that motherfucker at one time. I don't want to hear shit about Texas. No, don't say shit about Texas. I don't want to hear shit about Texas. You know what? Barbecue might be slightly better than average, on par with every other state that does good barbecue and all that. But sometimes you guys in Texas be thinking a little bit more about what's going on in Texas than what's going on in Texas. Oh my God. Did somebody just say that shit? You guys in Texas. I mean, that was almost as funny as trying to say that Whataburger is better than In-N-Out. All right, anyway, enough about that. And In-N-Out's not even that good, but shit, Whataburger isn't either. Mississippi has one of my favorite fucking highways. I-22 and 78 going from Memphis down to Birmingham. I love that highway. Yeah, Texas is gonna. You guys definitely can't talk about no fucking highways. Now, they might be good quality roads. I mean, you never know. But shit, when you tear down, I mean, that'd be like me tearing down this whole fucking house to fix a leak in a faucet. Oh shit, Dollar General. You guys, and that's one thing I will say, because people at Prime, sometimes they'll be the first ones to like post a video about Swift or somebody in some fucked up position and something like that. And I'll say that the average Swift driver or some of these other drivers could probably outback a Prime driver with the same amount of skill, because a lot of them drivers are out there backing into Dollar Generals and Dollar Trees and all these little off-brand stores where you got to be doing crazy shit to get in. I don't know how you guys do it. I ain't trying to be out there like you guys. If you're delivering Dollar General shit and you're delivering it to the store, you got my respect. Now, one thing I will say about Dollar General and Dollar Tree, how do they figure out the profit margin on this shit? You got a truck that they're probably paying $900 to bring $200 worth of shit to a store. I don't get it. That is what I'm trying to figure out. I don't like Whataburger either. I think that Smash Burger or Five Guys is better than both of them. But, you know, whether it's California talking shit about how good In-N-Out Burger is, or, you know, I don't even think Californians brag on that. But fuck Texas. I mean, everything you hear about fucking they cannot shut up about any fucking thing. And that P. Terry's looks like a good place. I haven't been there, but I keep seeing those little places. I was like, man, that place looks like it might be delicious. Let me stop in there. But I can never find a place to park near one of them. All right, let's see. Have you seen how they load the trucks, floor to ceiling? Yeah, I've seen videos of truck drivers that work at like Dollar General. It's just like random shit. They got to get out there and put the little ramp out there and slide shit down there. I don't get it. I would never do it. You guys, you got to be young to do that shit. I'm too old. Texas is my favorite state to drive through from a truck stop point of view. As far as being able to stop at off-brand truck stops, not worrying about parking. So I could be driving at 12:30, 1:30 at night, need to find a place to park an hour and a half, and I'm not going to be worried about it. So I like Texas from that. Yeah. Diversity in truck stops. Love it. There's a new truck stop I found. Oh my God. If somebody knows the name of it, I wish I remember what state it is. It's across or city across from a Love's. There's a truck stop. Was it called Chubby's or something like that? A drive-through taco restaurant or something like that for trucks. The only other drive-through place I'd seen was in Oklahoma. It was a Sonic at a truck stop. This place, but I was in a hurry. I'm trying to get where I need to get. I should have just taken the 10 minutes to drive through, but I didn't. Okay, I don't know much about Dollar General. I just know that getting in the back of some of them motherfuckers seems like a little bit too much work. Yeah, we already spoke about the damn sushi down there. But listen, I'm trying to get some real sushi when I'm out here this time. Like I go to the, I'm trying to go to the sushi place out here where, you can't understand the conversations people are having around you. Not quite as authentic as San Francisco. I think, you can get too authentic a sushi. Mission Beach and Point Loma back in the 70s. Doug Tharp. Hey, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I used to work at Courtesy Ford in La Mesa, California back in the days. And I used to I never was Point Loma. I used to be, back in my, Romeo days, I used to take girls on dates up to that Point Loma thing that overlooks, overlooks San Diego down there. Mission Beach, and I just spoke about what I missed about being in the business that I was in before, which was mortgages. Before I was in mortgages, I sold cars, and I sold cars in California. Mission Beach. There used to be a place out there. I believe it was Mission Beach, restaurant called TD Hayes. And I sold the 3 owners of that place cars back in the days. And I used to be able to go out to that place and eat for free all the time. And I haven't thought about that in years, but Mission Beach just reminded me of that. I don't remember if that was where that restaurant was, but I miss living in California. All right, what part of Texas you in? I'm not in Texas, but what part of Texas do I like? I like anything west. Take Houston, go west about 40 miles, and everything west of that. Let's see. Have I seen the new Volvo VNL? No. Katy, Texas. Yeah, I like Katy, Texas from what I've seen. I just don't like anything. It's like, listen, I don't got to love anybody's state. But one thing I will say is you definitely get a different vibe from what I like in truck stops once you start getting to Houston. It seems like that's like everything east of Houston, like you never see barbecue or never see any of that kind of shit at any of these truck stops after that. But everything west, like I said, if you go 40 miles west of Houston, everything 40 miles west of that, then that's where they have all the shit I like. So it's, I can't explain it. And Houston is just like, you always see these people, and I think it's people that live in Atlanta trying to make themselves act like they're in some big city or something, trying to make themselves be more than they are. But Atlanta traffic is not even a fraction as bad as Houston traffic. And you could fit 2 fucking Atlantas into one Houston and still have fucking room. I mean, that traffic in Houston is horrible. Oh, anyway, enough about that. It's too hot in Houston. I just can't think of anything I actually like about Houston. Like, I don't like Dallas, but I can see, like, I don't like Dallas, but I can see why people might like Dallas. I don't like Houston, and I don't see how anybody, my brother lives in Houston. I don't even see what anybody sees in Houston. Like, what redeeming qualities does it have? You're never gonna fucking. I don't get it. She one of my smokers out here. I just passed through this city. I was like, I need to get back on that smoker. New Braunfels. You know, I probably need to fucking get on one of my smokers this time I'm out here. My daughter's baby daddy is from where's he from in Texas? Amarillo. You know, there's some places in Texas I could kind of see about possibly moving to, but that would be like it would be like that would be part of a retirement, like move right there. You know, be one of them moves that people make that piss you guys off out there in Texas, where they're like, you know, normally it's people in California. People in California come out here buying cashes, you know, buying houses cash, and you know, it would be one of them kind of moves. But I think Amarillo might be a little too rustic for me. But shit. San Antonio and Austin might be a little too far south. I could maybe see a little bit north of that. I don't know. Anyway, if you live in Texas, let me know. I did like Katy, though. Tyler, I think I liked a little bit of that out there. But I'm not trying to be out there with all the bugs and wildlife and all that shit either. So. If anybody's from Texas, though, or Houston, my boy is from Houston. I do love me a little bit of powwow. All right, let's see. San Antonio is a great place to live. Yes, a little too far south for me, though. Where would I live ideally? Well, shit. It'd probably just still be here, to be honest with you. I mean, I do love Colorado. I mean, man, I don't want to be anybody moving to Texas and then being like, you know, acting like I'm changing shit for them or something like that. Let's see. I mean, ideally, let's be real. What is this question? So what? You go to Salt Lake City to get freight? There's plenty of freight coming out of Denver, yo. If anything, half the time you're in Salt Lake City, they deadhead you out to Denver. Denver, do not get slipping on the freight in Denver. A lot of times when you hear people complaining about freight in Denver, it's not refrigerated freight. So we got plenty of freight out here in Denver. Back to the question. I don't know what I was thinking. What was the question? Where would you live ideally? Sandy fucking Ego. God damn. I just went there last summer and I realized how much I miss that fucking place. It's like balance. You know, that's what I love. And Colorado is pretty much there right now with it doesn't have the balance like weather-wise, but balance as far as I really don't like talk. I mean, I will talk politics, but balance I like is just balance. Like nothing's fucking too crazy out here. You don't have a bunch of fucking right-wing crazy motherfuckers out here. You don't have a bunch of fucking like left-wing fucking people out here driving around Trump flags and shit like that. It's balanced. It's very balanced out here. And that's what it's like in San Diego. You know, a lot of people are saying, you know, San Diego's like, or California's liberal. Also, you know what? A lot of it isn't. A lot of it is like real, like Republican leaning, but there's a balance to a lot of it. And San Diego is a perfect balance to that. And that's just one aspect of it. But I would say the difference between San Diego and a lot of places that I could look at and say I'd like to move is that lifestyle balance. Like there's a lot of places I could look at and say, like I could look at and say, you know, I love Austin. The balance is a little off. It's off a little bit more in the direction I like, but I like balance in general. You know, sort of like, and what do people are like, what do you mean by that? You know, just because I would lean one way politically or not, is sort of like living in Denver, being a Denver Bronco fan. You know, it's like, what kind of fucking fun is that? So, anyway, I'm missing my point. But San Diego, perfectly balanced. Colorado is kind of almost that point. You know, it's gone through some changes, like going from one end to another within the last 20 something years. But right now, it's like that perfect balance. So I love this. I love San Diego for that reason. Well, you're always anywhere in San Diego, you're gonna be able to find some good fucking tacos. You know, I try not to get like I said. I don't mind letting anybody know what my political situation is. Listen, I grew up in a time. I'm older than most, so I grew up seeing a lot of this shit or hearing stories passed down. And there's just certain things that, regardless of what you would stand for in certain areas, would keep me where I'm at, regardless. So, but that being said, I'm not gonna let it like I said, politics and getting upset about every fucking thing, all that kind of stuff was something that I let happen to me before my sister died. And I see a lot of people letting that shit happen to them now. I see a lot of people making stupid ass decisions based on politics that don't affect their life. So I don't care if anybody, some of my best friends, Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't fucking matter. But one thing that does matter is when I have those friends that put more into it than needs to be, and they're gonna fucking end up stroking out over here over some dumb shit. Especially if you ain't gonna be able to change nothing. I mean, like, for example, why am I gonna be a truck driver driving to fucking Texas over some bullshit that doesn't fucking affect me, first of all? Second of all, either I'm making enough money to do some shit or I'm not. So I'm not making any money. So the smartest thing I'm gonna do is go drive down to Texas, and some of this shit just doesn't matter. It doesn't make no sense to me. But anyway, I guess I'm a libtard. I guess I'll be one of those. But one of the stories, you know, here's part of it, and we could just have a conversation a little bit deeper than a lot of people. Is, you know, my mom and uncle grew up in St. Louis during the whole civil rights era and all this stuff. And even myself, I was getting bused to schools and different stuff like that. So race was like a big deal back even when I was coming up in like the early mid 70s, stuff like that. And you know, man, we could get this conversation would be too long for me to have it and have it actually make sense without touching on everything I need to. So I probably shouldn't even talk about it that deep because it's going to leave too much out. But there's, in short, there's a whole group of people that it doesn't matter what anybody's policies or anything is going to be, regardless if it benefits or doesn't benefit them based on what the climate was when they were coming up, if that makes sense. I could get into it. That'd be a whole different like video, and I could get into it, but that's a lot deeper than this shit. All right. putting in a little bit of work on that bottle right there. Let me see. Well, these motherfuckers like legitimately left me at home with no good shit to eat. Well, I'm nursing it now, but goddamn, this is not no 80 proof shit right here. We're 109 proof on this. So definitely nursing that. Niners or Chiefs. I have really not watched football with any care or concern since the mid 2000s, and that was even bad. I cannot watch this football these days. Call me the old man, whatever, but this bullshit they call football is the softest shit I've seen. Like, I can remember the exact moment that I was done with football. It was the Oakland Raiders, which is my team. They were actually in Oakland at the time. They are playing the Dallas Cowboys. And one of the Dallas Cowboys hit the Oakland Raider quarterback. And they threw a personal flag on that play. And even though the flag helped my team, I was so pissed off that they threw a flag on such a soft-ass play. I was just like, I can't do this shit anymore. So I'm done. So I can't watch this football. You know, the best football was like maybe to the like late 90s, early 2000s, maybe that early. Even then they started getting soft. Do I like crab, lobster, shrimp, fish? I like all that shit. As a matter of fact, my daughter's boyfriend works at one of those places that cooks like the crab legs and the, you know, all that shit. So anyway, if I had to choose though, Niners or Chiefs, I'd have to choose the Niners because what I do know about the Chiefs is this Patrick Mahomes. He might be a stand-up guy, but his brother's a dickhead. So I can't roll with anybody whose brother's a dickhead like that. Yeah, I haven't watched too much football, but I have heard that Dallas has not been too happy with things that have been going on here lately. You know, I was talking earlier about going through my old Marine Corps, let's just call it a yearbook for, you know, I guess the easiest way for people to understand what it is, but saw my old drill instructor on Facebook, and at the time he was not like he was like a badass, but he was like not like seriously into like lifting weights or anything. Well, that changed. Yeah. Yeah, it's like he's like the new biker guy, the retired biker guy with the. Yeah, he ended up putting in all those years in the military, so uh, he was young when I had him, but he definitely started getting into competing in bodybuilding and all that shit. God dang. He was a Florida highway patrolman as well. I think he got out of that. Or I think he retired from that as well. I don't know where I saw the weightlifting pictures from. Oh, that's where it was. Oh man, we had some fun in them boot camp pictures, boy. Because anyway, enough about that. But it's just fun. Back to the point I was making before, in case I missed it. I'm going through all these old people I was in boot camp with, like we're all like 18, 19, 20 years old together. Going back through all those, trying to find them on Facebook. I find about 30% of them. You know, a lot of people my age, we ain't fuck. If it wasn't for me having a YouTube cooking channel on Facebook, I would not be on Facebook. I never would have got on Facebook in 2012 or whenever it was. So a lot of people my age don't have that shit. A lot of these people don't either, apparently. So, but the people that I do find, you have some of them people that are all like, I could pull them up right now. They're all, you know, leaving all these fucking comments about all this political shit, and like, then it's like, okay, well, let's go look through the thing. This can't be everything, right? Every fucking post is about some political bullshit. You know what I mean? And that could be, like I said, there was more. I saw more Democrat people than I was expecting as well, especially Marines, older, you know, because I'm like on that cusp of baby boomer, Gen X. So that's a highly Republican demographic, but a lot of those guys were more Democrat leaning than I would have expected. And then you look at those guys who are posting pictures, same thing. Everything is fucking like, you know, like it was like these two facets of these groups of people didn't have a chance to fucking rest emotionally. It's like every fucking day there's some, and then you see the people that don't say anything about anything. They're talking about their family, or they're doing this, or they're going here, they're going there. But it's not, everything's not about politics. And it's like, it was so eye-opening to see that it really makes me concerned about people. I mean, I felt that a few years ago anyway, but it makes me feel sorry for people that everything's gotta be about fucking politics to one degree or another. And that little exercise I did earlier today really made that come through. So that was a good good little thing. I don't even know why I hadn't done that earlier, because I think about it a lot. These are people that some of the people, you just spent that 3 months with, and then that was it. You never saw them again. Whatever. Some of the people you might have seen off and on here or there or heard something of, but a lot of these guys I thought about for years and never took the time to just look them up. I had the time this morning, so I was like looking them up. And it's funny how people's personalities have changed too. Because there was a guy that I looked at, and he was what was his? He would not have been what you would have considered to be like somebody that would have gone in the Marines. Even looking at his page, you would say, "Man, this guy's like he just did it to prove something to his family. His family's like some rich, like Hamptons or fucking, some shit like that. Like, he never like looked like he would have fit in. Never really. And I don't know him after, boot camp, but you just never pictured him as being that guy. A little fragile, to be honest with you. And, I don't know how long he spent in. I know he didn't retire, but I know he spent at least probably more than 4 years in. And you just kind of look at him, his, boot camp photo, and you look at these other photos, and you're like, God damn, this guy's, like, it's just, it's crazy. Then there were two guys that, one of the things I was saying about people that like everything's about politics, I'm just like, at some point, doesn't it get exhausting? There's two guys that were from Colorado, and I knew them probably a lot better than most, because we there was a group of us that signed up to go in the Marines way long before we were even old enough to go in. So they put you in this little program where you fuck around for a year and do all this stuff. Well, that's what we were in. And these two brothers were in that program. And even back then, and this was kind of the funnier part. I mean, not that it matters, but these guys back then were like people like, if you see some, they're white guys. Let me just paint the picture. But they're, even me as black dude, I'm like, these guys are from the wrong side of the tracks. You know what I'm saying? But even these guys were kind of taking a lot of that political stuff a little bit further than I was about to reach out to one of them, because they live pretty close to where I'm at. And I'm like going through one of their profiles, and I'm like, all right, if this guy doesn't say anything about politics in the next, like if we could just go 3 or 4 posts without him not saying anything about politics, I'll like reach out to him. And I couldn't make it past that. So I was like, fuck it. I'm not going to worry about it. So that's my advice. If you happen to still be on here, one of the 12 people that are on here, have whatever political beliefs you want to have, all that kind of stuff, but don't let it run your life, and definitely don't let it ruin your life. I've just seen it, and I'd look at some of the friends I have on Facebook, and it's just like, I just don't feel like they get any rest. Like, everything is finding the next post that'll irritate them, not something that'll irritate somebody else. They want to find some shit that'll piss them off. It's just like, why? Chill the fuck out. And these are people that are my age, so there's really, I can't really just be like, you know what, listen to somebody that's older or anything like that. But in my opinion, it's not the best thing to do. It'll catch up with you. Before I go, I'm going to just see where everybody's at. And I'm going to go lay down, take a nap, and see everybody later. I'm glad you guys stopped in for this long-ass, boring live, but let's see. Got a truck out here in... Shit, she's almost there, out there in Troy, Illinois. I'm into the truth movement and information sharing. So my face, I understand, and everybody can be in what they're in. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that at some point, doesn't stuff just get a little like? I would just, like I said, I used to be in that. And then now it's just like, why am I like worried? Like, am I happier, worried about? And these aren't things I was worried about, but let's just say with people I look at. Let's say I was sitting here and one of my issues was somebody taking jobs across the border, which, whatever. Am I going to sit here with, like, I'm not going to let that control me and get me upset. I can't. All right, anyway. Like I said, I was sitting there looking at my sister when she was passing away for that week and a half or however long she was living with me. And I was like, you know what? Worrying about this shit is the dumbest shit ever. So me getting upset about, who's president or what they're doing or, like I saw one thing where some judge was, and I was about to bet somebody $5,000 on this shit just to, some judge that was paid off $5 million to do. It's like the amount of time it takes to come up with some of this shit is not worth what you get out of it. All right, so there's a truck in Troy, Illinois. That's great. Got another one out here in, I guess that motherfucker ain't left Springfield yet, so he's relaxing. Let's see. Guess doesn't need to deliver for a while, so he can chill. I personally would be rolling. Damn, I got motherfuckers all near Springfield. Shit. Where's he going? All right, so anyway, that's that. Okay, it's all about being informed and in the know. I've had about 250 people tell me on Facebook, and I know, you know what? I'd rather be misinformed and happy than stressed out about every fucking thing that happens around me. That's really what's Andrea saying? My wife's over here talking shit. Yeah, but I'd just rather not be high strung about the shit all the fucking time. All right, I'm about to get off of here. Go take my ass to sleep. Oh, it is just great getting these invoices, though. You know, here's one thing nobody talks about. Everybody talks about what, you know, I'm getting $174 invoice, $195 invoice, $1,166 invoice. So nobody thinks about that shit. It's easy to not be worried about nothing when you get these invoices coming in. You know, these are just today's invoices. So, yeah. Anyway, that's enough about that. I'm about to go to sleep. All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. I'm out. Hold on, Chief.